Hey everyone, welcome to our latest coronavirus blog. The topic for today is, again, clinical trials. This is something we talked about previously about a week and a half ago, just after Eli Lilly had issued a press release stating that COVID-19 was disrupting a lot of its clinical trials. Since then, many, if not the majority of Lilly's big pharma peers have also made similar statements. So what we can do now is kind of pool all of these together and just basically summarize. And the top line is that patients in ongoing trials, by and large, are able to continue. Ongoing trials are not necessarily enrolling new patients, and they are not getting new sites active. Trials that are still in the planning stage, there's also a delay in moving them forwards into trial initiations until the COVID-19 pandemic somewhat abates. Over the past week, the team at Trialtrove have been very busy indexing a huge number of trial entries to enable the identification of specific trials that have been disrupted according to COVID-19. This is a question that many of our clients have been asking and being able to quantify the effect of COVID-19 on the clinical trial universe. So as of Thursday, April 2nd, we were able to identify 99 specific clinical trials that have been disrupted according to COVID-19. The effect is variable. So as we discussed, we have some trials that are able to continue relatively as normal, right down to trials that are not taking any new patients, trials that are not yet starting. There's even a trial that's terminated, a cardiovascular outcomes trial specifically because of COVID-19 disruption. We would expect this 99 number to rise considerably over the coming weeks, both as more and more trials are disrupted, but also as pharma companies update their primary sources that we use to reflect this change in status. So it's probably an underestimate of the true total, but it's still a good working number to look within and then see some trends. So interestingly, a large number of these 99 trials are phase 3 studies. This is where the disruption is most keenly felt by industry, because that's where they're spending the majority of their money. But there may be somewhat of a reporting bias. These phase 3 trials are the largest. They involve more patients, more investigators, so there may be more disclosure around these trials, so it may be somewhat of an overestimate. You may also expect the disruption to be most keenly felt in the US and in the EU5. That's exactly what our data set says as well. I think somewhat anecdotally, we're hearing from clinical research organizations that in China, their capacity to run clinical trials is near enough back to normal now. We can also look at the disruption of trials according to the therapy area or indications, and somewhat disappointingly, what we're seeing is that pretty much all aspects of clinical research are affected. Oncology trials are always the most numerous, but then even within this COVID-19 disruption subset, I think 1/3 of trials that are disrupted are oncology. Cancer patients are among the most sick, and the need for treatment is therefore very, very high. But these patients are also at greater risk for severe COVID-19. So it looks like there is a considerable effort to protect these patients where possible. I want to finish this video with a more positive message, and really to emphasize the duty of care that sponsors of clinical trials should have towards their patients, and the need to keep clinical research going as best as possible, while also using the technology that's available to them to mitigate the risk of exposing patients potentially to COVID-19. There's also the risk of delaying clinical trials for too long would be denying access to potentially effective investigational treatments for patients. Waiting weeks or months to get these patients onto these trials may harm their outcomes. I really hope that COVID-19 is a really positive impetus for improvements within the way we do clinical research. And then looking back to today, it's I hope it would be hard to fathom, hard to go back to the traditional ways of doing clinical research. What we really need to be doing is keeping patients right at the center of the way we design our clinical trials, not overburdening them with excessive clinic visits, not making enrollment criteria more punitive than anything else. this is a really good opportunity to improve clinical research for good. That's all for today. I hope you've enjoyed listening, and I will speak to you all soon. Bye now.